Do you remember the first story that was so spellbinding that it drove you to break the rules and stay up all night? To keep reading, keep listening, keep playing? So good you forgot your life and lived there?
So good that the moment it ended, you asked yourself, what next?
Welcome to the floor. Our goal is to take you back, take you deeper, to explore and understand more, and relive that childlike wonder.
Join us as we dive deep into humanity's greatest stories, no matter how they are told, through books, movies, television, even games.
One of us does an in-depth research on our topic. One of us is familiar with the topic.
And one of us knows nothing. So the right questions will always be asked and will be addressed for anyone coming into the topic, regardless of how much you know.
Enjoy another world, another adventure, another spellbinding story. Join us on the floor. Welcome to another episode of Floor. Today we are going to be doing a movie review of The Matrix and dive a little bit deeper into some of the ideas that went into it and how they came to the creation of the fourth movie in the series and all of that. We probably will be talking a little bit more about some of the philosophy that went into the movie. And if you've seen the movie, which we recommend you do before you listen.
Definitely watch
spoilers.
Spoilers galore. And so in it, they do talk about how possibly one of the big reasons of the early success was because there was so much real philosophy in it. So we'll be diving into that as well. But before we get into the meat of the episode, we do want to welcome our newest patron, which is Chantel or Chantal. You can let us know how you want that pronounced. Thank you for joining and helping support and making this project possible.
Woo!
And I will be the amateur. Eli will be our expert, and Aaron knows the least, but he has seen the movie.
I mean, I'm like the know nothing for people who actually are going to see the movie.
So yeah, like if somebody just like if you grab your girlfriend and you head off to see the Matrix Resurrection and she doesn't know anything, that's Aaron. That's it.
I'm the cute girlfriend.
He's the one who's here to represent those people so they can be.
Well, that's at least what I thought. But let's get into it because I have thoughts.
All right.
Well, do we want to cover the movies, like kind of just briefly go through what happened between Matrix and... No. Okay.
I will start. Here's what happened. I watched this movie and I was yelling at my TV screen with how happy I was with the directors and Keanu Reeves and just the whole style, because they literally just decided they were going to write their script to the audience. So like, here's what's going to happen. We are going to write this in such a way that if you haven't seen the first three, here's some backstory for you. If you have, here's some awesome Easter eggs for you. Either way, you're going to be ready for what happens next. And that's how they wrote that movie. And it was mwah.
Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it. What about you, Joe? How'd you like it?
I really liked the movie. My favorite scene out of everything in the movie is the montage where the original creators, right, the writers, and I think the Wachowskis do the directing as well.
Yeah.
They did not want to do this, and they were dragged into this project, and they were unhappy about it. And they put that whole scene in the movie for us to watch, right?
The writer's room?
They put essentially the writer's room and their arguments with the executives and everything, and they're like, we made a trilogy. It was a complete story. It was a huge success. We're done. We finished our story, and it was awesome. And then Warner Brothers comes in, and we see this in the movie, but in the movie they're talking about the game The Matrix, but this happened. These are the conversations they had about the movie The Matrix. They're like, well, Warner Brothers, who owns the intellectual property of The Matrix, is going to make a fourth movie with or without you.
But like there was that whole like debate or like that whole like uplifting conversation later. I forgot who it was with, and it was just like, it's like, you wanted like what like, why are you doing this or whatever? It's like, well, like you gave us a chance to like do it right or like do it again or something, and it was like something super exciting. Like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but someone was just like, you gave us a chance to start over or something, and you're like, oh, they're talking to the fans. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, it's exciting. Because it's the 21st century Matrix. Like, who doesn't want that? There were people wearing masks on the train. It was so funny. It was like filled with awesome Easter eggs.
It was.
They literally had a scene that was Tiff, Trinity, interviewing, like a style of interviewing Keanu Reeves, and it was basically interviewing him. It was like, how much of you is in your character? It's like more than people think. Did you guys not get that? Like, it was literally, if fans were able to ask Keanu Reeves questions, they threw those in this movie just because they're that cool.
So one of the things that it's Lana Wachowski that is the director on this one. The other sibling was not so involved, but probably bounced off ideas, but not directly involved. But one of the things about this film that she drives home really hard is even in Matrix 1, this is about them transitioning from male to female. And this being part of that story of the Matrix. Like one of the lines in the first Matrix.
Wait. Yeah, I was like, walk me through this, because I like, you say that and it didn't click for me.
So in the first film, when Thomas Anderson is captured, he is in the office with Mr. Smith, right?
Yes, Mr. Smith.
And he's looking at the file and he's like, it appears you're trying to live two lives.
Oh.
And this whole breaking out and then also claiming the new name. And referencing that dead name. And that's really driven really hard with Trinity in this one, right? They're calling her Tiff the whole time.
Uh-huh.
Because, and that's the dead name, right? That's not me. I'm going to break out of this matrix. And as well as the messing with the DSI.
Which was the DSI?
The DSI is in the first Matrix, it's how you think of yourself and how you appear in the Matrix. That's your DSI. It's tapping into a subconscious that's inside yourself.
Right.
Okay. And that's how you appear in the Matrix. And in this new one, they mess with it, right? He looks like a different person.
Yeah.
Even though he is Neo.
Yes.
So, but not to himself, to the whole world, right?
Right. And so that messing with, like, if somebody could mess with your matrix that you exist in, and you could appear as if you were different than how you truly felt.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I can start to see the pieces there now.
Now, this is just a subtext that I think she wanted to drive home really hard,
right?
Because the Matrix has been so incorporated that she wanted to take it back out of people's mouths who are transphobic,
right?
And I think that was the motivation of her getting dragged back into this film.
Huh?
This film, like, I know in the last episode we did when we were talking about prepping for the Matrix, we talked about how the Matrix took all these philosophical questions and then stir-fried them and flipped them on their heads. I honestly think this film just took all of what the Matrix trilogy did, stir-fried that, and flipped it on its head, because they literally redid the beginning of the first movie. And then you have to question, has he ever escaped? Is this just one big loop? And, like, what's going on? Like, all those fun things. And you're like, oh, you writers, you monsters.
Well, I wanted to fulfill the promise. I told you, I blew your mind last time. I wanted to blow your mind again. Be like, okay, it has some deeper layers to it that wouldn't be obvious. And that was one of the deeper layers that I had found.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I guess with that, so we talked about Descartes, right? The idea of what makes us, our self-aware, the humanity that we reference, this ability to choose. And this is an idea played with a lot throughout the entire series of The Matrix, right? Can we choose? And If so, how do we know we are choosing, right? That there is a choice. And part of playing with this is the fact that we're dealing with people and machines, right? And so these machines are running programs. So theoretically, they don't have a choice. And anytime you talk to machines, they always say, you don't have a choice either. Or in the words of the Oracle, you've already made the choice, therefore there isn't a choice to be made, right? This idea of a kind of programming, like this idea that you make a single choice at one point in your life, and then that kind of predicts out all other future choices you will make. And so, right, that thus you've already made the choice, having made that single choice at one point in your existence, right?
No.
And then this introduces then the next theory. So so this becomes the next layer, right? So if you make a choice and then all your future choices are based on the preferences and like desires, pleasures, so you get something you want or something that hurts, something happens in that first choice, positive or negative, and it sets up a framework for how you then make choices in the future, right? And this kind of creates a kind of programming. Which is what the machines talk about. You've already made the choice. At some point, you did something in your life that set you up so that when you encountered this choice, that you would always make this decision. You couldn't choose differently in the moment because all of the moments that preceded it. Whereas the next layer to this is that we have the clash of decisions. I'm making decisions, you're making decisions, and those decisions come into sometimes conflict or sometimes just contact. And then that forces a redefining of the choice matrix, right?
Mm-hmm.
What?
But I like I forget the author, but the book The Emperor's New Mind. It's a computer science book about, and essentially he's saying computers will never receive actual sentience because it's just like a pool table, right? Just the balls don't make their own decisions. They're just getting bounced around by the energy inside them, and they'll do exactly what physics directs them to do. And then you can transfer that over to our biology. Right.
Well, and not only that, but balls on a pool table, the factorials on that are almost infinite. At the same time, the infinite of the pool table does not even begin to dip a toe in the infinite of a human life, right?
Correct. Yeah, this is a simple version to understand that, like, things will just simply happen, and show that it's a huge number that might as well be infinite, right? But is still finite and still specific, and whether things spin this way, that way, here, there. Yeah.
Right. Balls on a pool table will still always just be balls on a pool table.
Right.
So you're just saying life has a lot of choices.
So, well, what I'm saying is that in a computer, no matter how advanced we make them, there will always be boundaries to just how much independent thinking they can do. Whereas the human mind, the boundaries are so vast, they're incomprehensible, right?
Because you can always end up flipping whatever you thought was everything on its head.
So back to the Matrix, right? So the interesting thing is that everyone who's always telling Neo, you don't have a choice or you've already made a choice, is always a computer program, right? Humans never tell him that. That is something the Matrix tells him repeatedly. And so I think the Matrix is essentially trying to put out this message that choice is an illusion, right?
Well, I think it goes both ways. But they drive this home. Is it a choice?
They did use the word sheeple in the Matrix. I like that. Are we planning on taking a break this year?
Yeah. So next time I wanted to get into some of those Easter eggs.
That's a good idea.
And how it was really a nostalgic film.
It was.
And they took a unique turn. It felt a little bit like Star Wars 7, right? We get our first story.
No, it was Star Wars 7 if Star Wars 7 was done right.
All right.
That literally watching it, that's where I was at.
I think we all have a lot to say. So in the second half, I think everybody will get 4 minutes and to go into your
No, you guys got way more in this first half. You get 2, Joe.
Because
I
we
get
took
6.
it. Because we took it.
Cool. I'm taking
Aaron,
6
you
next
can
time.
bring us in.
All right. Let's take a break. Okay, so we have been mentioning at the end of our episodes recently about the treasure room, how, as Aaron likes to describe it, in the floor we go deep into things, but in the treasure room we kind of go wide. And we wanted to give people who have never been in the treasure room a little bit of a sample. So going forward, we'll probably be putting in little bits and pieces here. So here is a small clip from the treasure room. We hope you enjoy it and are interested in learning more in there.
Oh, and Aaron, also in the Animatrix is where we first get the idea of the sentient machines breaking out of the Matrix and having free will and joining the humans.
Interesting.
You know, because the city in the fourth one, right, Io, it is machines and humans living together towards a certain goal.
Yeah. All right, Eli, you were talking about Easter eggs. What was your favorite Easter egg you saw?
Let's see. I mean, there's so many drops, but one in particular was Neo's altered DSI. He doesn't look like Keanu Reeves, right? You first see it in minute 15, reflecting off the table when he's talking to the high energy Aaron-ish guy, the salesman guy who's always like, "Oh yeah!" I can't remember his phrases, but he had such your energy.
Which one was that?
His marketing friend that he's having coffee with one morning, and they see Trinity, and he's all like,
"Oh, that guy was such a doofus." I'm mad at you
now. Anyway, so
you don't get to talk anymore.
You see the altered DSI in the reflection of the coffee table at minute 15, but they don't talk about it until minute 45.
But you also see it again. I don't remember what minute, but you see it in this mirror.
Yeah, I caught it a few times. I was like, hang on, that looks off. And yeah.
This is really clever. They probably have a lot more stuff. We just need to watch it 600 times.
I also liked breaking down where this Morpheus came from, and that, like, Bugs. I'm excited to talk about Bugs, but we'll talk about Bugs later. Anyways, what did you want to cover, Aaron?
You literally started talking about Morpheus and then just trailed off. What's cool about Morpheus?
Finish your thought, Eli, and then we'll go
you got to say something that I thought really cool about the Morpheus backstory. All right, anyways, talk.
The new Morpheus, right? They in this mythology, we have this reincarnation thing, right? The one wasn't always just Neo. He was a reincarnation of the one,
right?
And so Morpheus is reincarnated as an agent, right? And he is created from Morpheus and Agent Smith. And Bugs has not only hacked into the Matrix, but gone into a sub-matrix, which is in Neo's computer at work.
Right.
And steals this agent from, like, a second layer of simulation.
Right. It's a simulation within a simulation.
Reminds me of the 13th floor, where there are simulations within simulations, and the simulations start breaking through into the next reality, if you will, or the next simulation, rather than just going down, right? It's easy to, I'm a person, I go into a simulation, and then I can go into a simulation in that simulation. But then for a simulation to reach backwards into the real world, it's kind of like that.
So, or for those more familiar with gaming, if you're playing a game and in it's a little mini game that you're playing, and then for some reason elements of the mini game start invading the main game.
Yes, exactly.
So.
Yeah. Or if you have a god create a bunch of people and then they create a sentient life, and then that sentient life attacks the people, and then those people attack the god that created them. You just layers, man.
All right.
My favorite Easter egg was just when they said lots of guns, because I really like John Wick and I loved it. And I love that part of the Matrix, just the lots of guns.
Yeah. Where they're talking about like what made the first one so successful.
And then they just quoted that movie, just guns, lots of guns. It's like, I don't need much to be happy. Joe, what about you?
Like I said, my favorite scene is that montage where they just kind of say, this is what Warner Brothers put us through. Now you know what jerks they were. And no executive read the script and be like, hey, they're making us look bad here.
Yeah, but everyone loves the movie. If people didn't like that movie, you're just a negative person.
So,
because the movie was literally just, hey, this is for our fans, and we just want you to feel safe, happy, and have a good time.
So I saw a meme that I really liked that it was about this, and it was about Keanu Reeves, and it's like in preparation for his role in The Matrix Resurrections as old Neo, Keanu Reeves spent 20 years aging. He like just shows his dedication to the craft.
Wait a second.
Oh, yeah, and I think before I had mentioned that this was supposed to be 20 years in the future, but it turned out to be 60 years in the future.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But Keanu only did 20 years of method acting, not 60. So you were really excited to talk about Bugs, Eli.
Yeah, so Bugs, that spunky blue-haired chick.
She's not blue-haired when she gets out of that simulation, so is she even a blue-haired chick?
Okay, good point. Anyway, but there's a little bit of rumor that we might get some spinoff of Bugs before her interaction with Neo, right? A prequel to this, but just focused on Bugs and who she is and her story.
And that's good. Why?
Because Eli wants more Matrix.
Yeah.
Eli wants more Bugs. He specifically said he really likes Bugs. So I want to know why.
Well, I think the Animatrix was so good. Maybe that's where my hopes are up. You know, if we get a story about Bugs that feels satisfying the way the Animatrix was, I think.
Do you know
awesome.
what the Wachowskis' involvement was in the Animatrix?
Yeah, they were involved. It wasn't a competition. They selected different. You know, it was crafted, and they were involved.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were lead on it exactly, but yeah, they were involved with that as well.
You know what I loved is when they had the therapist or the psychiatrists as like you thought was the big bad. And then he just gets his butt beat by Mr. Smith once Mr. Smith knows who he is.
Yeah, how'd you guys feel about Smith like deciding he's like, oh, we're yin and yang. If you're in trouble, I'm coming to your side, and them teaming up.
I really liked it. I liked Smith a lot.
So yeah, I didn't really see it as like he was coming to save Neo. I think that he saw the conflict between Neo and the therapist as a moment for him to seize more control.
No, right. What I would say is it wasn't so much to save Neo as to save himself, because Neo is his best like sparring partner ever. And so if he loses Neo, he doesn't get more powerful because there's no one who's going to be able to.
Well, I guess the way I see it is like Neo and Mr. Smith were on the treadmill, right? They talk about it, right? They're stuck in this little loop that they've got him on over and over and over. And so Smith was like, this is how we get off the treadmill. And if I can't get off the treadmill, I'm not free. And if that means helping Neo, so be it, right? We off the treadmill, then I can fight Neo again, you know? But right now we're stuck here on this loop.
I just want a Matrix game where you fight hordes of Mr. Smith, because them dive bombing out of those skyscrapers, like, because I love playing like Call of Duty Zombies, like waves, but being able to do that
the
in
Matrix
the Matrix
game? I think it was a PS2 game.
It sounds a little bit older. I'm just saying hordes of Mr. Smiths would be pretty cool.
So, well, did you see the third one? That's what it is, man. Mr. Smith galore.
I did like how they just casually said they recast him, and just like, how do you feel about these piercing blue eyes? A little too much, huh?
Yeah, you like that line?
I was just clever. It was just like, yeah, we're just pointing out the fact that.
I mean, I was really torn on the decision to recast Mr. Smith. I think part of recasting him makes it a surprise, because you cast the same actor as Mr. Smith, we know immediately, oh, that's Smith, right? Whereas the recasting then moves that into mystery for the audience, as it is for Neo.
The other thing that was interesting is Mr. Smith, originally in the first trilogy, he literally looks like a nondescript agent. Like that actor, literally, you look at him and you're like, yeah, that's the CIA, FBI. I don't know. Like that's what he looks like. This other one, this new one, he looks like a hungry business owner that's willing to take out his competition by whatever means necessary.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because that changes this character.
Which the character is changed.
Exactly. But like you visually see that he looks different because he is different.
Yeah.
Which I thought was it was a really smart decision.
Yeah.
And he seems to have lost his disgust in humans.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, we don't know how Neo changed him, right? Because at the end of the third movie, Neo realizes he has to let Smith take over him so that he can infect Smith from the inside, right?
Yeah.
And so we don't know, I guess, or maybe that is what we see, the changes Neo had to put into Mr. Smith to end his overtaking of the machines.
Yeah.
And then at the end of this film, they take over the big bad, and they're like, we're going to change things. We're going to run this Matrix now.
The big bad meaning the psychiatrist?
Right.
Oh, he was like the little B bad.
He's the little B bad?
Yeah, he was not the big bad. Like,
who's the big bad then?
Mr. Smith?
Smith.
Yeah, he's going to be so ruthless, and I'm so excited. He's going to have some cronies. He's going to do some crazy stuff. Neo's not ready, but he'll have lots of guns.
Well, and I think the ending of the third movie and the ending of the fourth movie almost seem in contradiction, because the ending of the third movie is let's end the Matrix. Now they come to a deal, right? Anyone who wants to stay can, and then the machines can feed off that energy, but you have to let go anyone who wants to leave, right? Yeah. But I mean, the big goal was to get as much of humanity out of the Matrix as possible. Whereas the end of the fourth movie is that the system serves a purpose, and destroying it doesn't work. We tried that. So we have to find a way to work within that system to make it work for us.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because, if you give power to the machines, or you give power to anything, they'll take more.
So, well, and I mean, because Aaron knows how much I love my history, right? Anytime you destroy a governmental system, right? Like the Matrix is kind of a governmenting system for the humans and machines. What you get is war. And that is exactly what happens, right? Neo destroys the Matrix, and you get the machine war, right? The machines war with each other.
Right.
And
that's what they talked about.
Yeah. And so in the fourth one, they're like, didn't work. It just led to more war. Instead of humanity versus machine, it was machine versus machine, And so we have to change the system from within instead of just overhauling it, because that only leads to the chaos of war. So I thought that was an interesting view on things, particularly as I've studied history, right? Like part of the reason so many horrible kings get to be kings for so long is because the only thing worse than a bad king is no king, because that is just nonstop war with everybody fighting for that throne.
Because nobody knows what they're doing. All right, well, we have a king now. It's Mr. Smith.
Yeah, you're a Mr. Smith guy.
I mean, he was pretty cool, and I'm really excited to see what Neo does.
Here's the funny thing. When Eli first said the high energy Aaron guy, I thought he was talking about the new Mr. Smith.
That's what I thought too, and I was like, no, that's not what he's talking about.
They both have Aaron energy, and I was teasing you.
All right.
So see me in my office later, Eli.
I really enjoyed the movie. I felt like as far as like philosophical complexities, it was just a repeat. They can, the machines continue to beat that drum. You have already made the choice. Therefore, there is no choice. But it was always a computer program stating that idea, which I thought was the presentation that the machines are kind of locked in that way. And therefore, they assume that humanity functions the same way. They reach the assumption, we are self-aware. We function this way. Therefore, you are self-aware. You function that way. And because no human repeats that idea, I think it's posed to the audience, be like, what are your thoughts? So that's my final thought on the Matrix Resurrection.
Aaron, any final thoughts?
I want to go rewatch the first three.
All right.
And apparently Animatrix now.
Yeah. We'll talk about that one in the treasure room. Thanks for joining us. And thank you, Chantel, our new Patreon.
If you enjoyed this episode and want more on the topic,
we record a special treasure room for our patrons after every episode. In the regular episode, we go deep. In the treasure room, we go wide. To enjoy the bonus content, sign up at the fluorite level or higher.
There is a treasure room for every episode from August 2021 and on. That's double the content. 2 episodes a week instead of 1.
Go to www.patreon.com/floor, fantasy and lore. That's floor spelled FLORE. Select the fluorite tier or higher. Immediately after each episode is released, the Treasure Room will post the bonus audio on Patreon. They are identified by the tag Treasure Room After and the title of the episode. You can also do a search for the keywords Treasure Room and find all the content you've been missing. Thanks for listening.
Leave us a review. Tell us why you like listening to us. Is it our awesome deep dives? Is it our amazing back and forth? Is it our charming good looks?
What would you like us to add or change? You can put that in the review as well. We read reviews.
Yeah, and if you're going to be leaving us a review telling us what you like about it, maybe you even want to share the content with your friends. Like and share on social media. You can join us on Twitter and Facebook. We post memes. And we actually started a Discord, so come play with us.
So a lot of the worlds we cover have a retcon. If you're not familiar with that term, it's reconstruction. Or sometimes we might use a bad source for some of our lore research. And if that happens, feel free to email us at floorfantasyandlore@gmail.com. That is floor spelled FLORE, fantasyandlore@gmail.com. And if you're angry enough, we'll read it on the air.
Yes, we will. Also, the treasure room is now available. We have locked a few secrets for everything we cover in there. And each week, we add more.
And you can find the treasure room on patreon.com/floor, fantasy, and lore. And how do you spell that, Aaron?
That's lore with an F at the beginning. So it sounds like floor, but it's not the floor you're thinking because it's our floor.
We hope you enjoyed your time on the floor. Think about your favorite part of the episode. Now, think about your nerdiest friend. Who is it? What is their name? They want to know about the floor. Stop holding out on them. Go and tell them about your favorite part.
Because all of this is more fun together.